Morning, Andrew. I think this
Well,
is about
Simon.
number. I think this is about number 15 or something of the various titles that we've used.
Yeah.
Blimey, you're flying at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah. Top of the Racing Post Naps table. It's a marathon, not a sprint though. So I've only got to hold on to about the 23rd of April, 2026. And then if by some miracle I'm still up there come the springtime, there's always the chance someone's going to step out a 200 to one shot on the last day of the season, like happened
Yeah.
this year.
The I had Paul Jacobs on this week,
Yes, I watched.
and
I watched that.
yeah, but you didn't watch the bit I had to cut out where he doesn't use very pleasant words about you. I think he keep wants to hang on to his crown, and yeah, I better not mention names. I thought it was all said in jest. It wasn't malicious, but it's far
Yes.
too swear. It's far too sweary
Uh,
for this thing. So you're top of the
this,
naps table.
this family audience. Yeah.
Would it be good to try and find a 201 winner early doors and then just sit back with a cocktail?
Yeah, funnily enough, I've had because there was a lot of discussion about the Naps table. For those who don't know, this has ended on Champions Day at Ascot last month, and a lot of people who were, well behind needed a big priced one to try and have a chance of winning the 4 grand first prize, rather than go for a sort of short price one as their best bet of the day. They went for horses priced 100 to 1 plus. I did it as well with James's Delight in the race where the 200 to 1 shot won. And so people were saying, well, that's not fair. Someone's been in front for 6 months and then you've just had a lucky pin go. And are you generally saying that is your best bet of the day and your nap? If you're a newspaper tipster and people are picking up their Daily Mail or their Sun or whatever, are you saying this is, your best bet of the day kind of thing? So that was an interesting discussion. I did point out that I had sort of, had some horses at sort of 50 to 1 plus, even 100 to 1. I think earlier on in the season, I do go for the occasional like unraced 2-year-old that on breeding and stats, would have a good chance, and it might open at 25 to go off a 100 and run like a hairy dog. But if I'm in a sort of good position, I might go for glory and think, well, I had a few winners this week. Let's just have a complete left field one to try and leap into first place.
I was going to say, but there's 200 to 1 shots and there's 200 to 1 shots, isn't there? Because there'll be horses running around the West Country in the jump season that will be 200 to 1. In fact, they should be at any price because they've never
Yeah, there'll be 1,000
troubled
on
the judge.
Betfair, and if Betfair went up to 10,000, there'd be 10,000 because
Yeah,
they're
they would. But this
relatively
one,
low.
I did look back and see it did win quite a good race, the 2-year-old, didn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a very good 2-year-old, and then since then you could say, well, potential excuse for that run, potential excuse for that run, and so it wasn't beyond the realms of possibility. And again, you will get horses who are sort of group winners who haven't won for a while might then just have their ideal conditions for the first time in donkey's years and bounce back. And as Paul Jacobs said in your video, the sprint division has thrown up a whole load of freak results this season, often because of strong track biases at Newmarket and Haydock. And why not have a stab? I mean, yeah, if you get a 100 to 1 winner and you're going to win the Naps table and the 4 grand first prize, basically someone's just giving you a sort of 40 quid free bet on a 100 to 1 shot. And if they did that, you'd put it on, wouldn't you?
And then, I mean, the fractions in the sprint races are so small that, it's not beyond the realms again, is it? So they're not the best horse in the race might win it.
Yeah, precisely. And it was written by Jamie Spencer on the straight course at Ascot, and I know some people who just follow that system blindly, even though Mr. Spencer is perhaps not everybody's friend.
That will skew the figures now, that will, though, won't it? That
Yeah,
201.
absolutely.
And also you've started a new venture, as part of Daryl Carter's thing on
Yes, yeah,
Patreon.
yeah. When Daryl contacted me, I thought he wanted to fight me, but
They say to Jeff, go out for a drink with him first.
he didn't. Yeah, no, he basically, because he runs his own channel now and his own service, and he wanted someone not to do any tipping for him because he does all that himself, but he wanted somebody just to write a review column, once a week, a bit like the one I write for Racing and Football Outlook. So I did the first one this week for his members. So he's just trying to provide content in addition to tipping, which a few people, done now as well, and try to sort of add some value with other bits and pieces, and keep people coming to his site, I guess.
Yeah, you say what you like about Daryl, but he's a good judge, isn't he? Underneath it all, he's a good bloke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depends what mood you get in.
Can we delete it? Can we delete this if he's in?
No, he'll be.
He's pretended he's managed his pleasure in the next few weeks.
Right then. So, what are we talking about? It's the West Country weekend at the time of recording. I'm off to Exeter tomorrow and Wincanton on Saturday. And the rain's been hammering down this week, so we should be looking for some good sport, shouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the Badger Beers, 64th running of the Badger Beers handicap. That's Premier Handicap Chase, which will be live on ITV, 3:30 on Saturday. And I do like this race, and I'm going to after time horrendously here because I tipped the 25 to 1 at Al Dancer last year, put it in my column on gg.co.uk, because he was a front runner and looked one of the likeliest leaders in that race. And this race has been a massive front runner's benefit over the years, and that's true of the chase course at Wincanton in general. So we talk about track biases, we talked about shock results in sprint races, draw biases, but Wincanton, it's very, very difficult to come from off the pace in chases. So I had a look at for the column on your site. I looked at every single chase run at Wincanton since racing resumed after COVID back in the summer of 2020, and just split them by running style using Proform. Horses who led, horses who raced prominently, and horses who were held up, i.e. ridden patiently. And front runners strike rate of almost 24%, prominent races 17%, hold up horses only 8%. And if you backed horses who were ridden patiently, you do your absolute nuts, minus 269 quid at SP, which is over 40% on turnover. Front runners and prominent races made a good profit.
So what do you think that is?
Just the nature of the track and getting in a rhythm over those I was going to say difficult fences. There aren't that many difficult fences on British racetracks anymore, given that how they've been made easier over the years to sort of try and reduce the number of fallers and fatalities. And the powers that be seem to think it looks better, but what can happen then is that the horses know they can get away with mistakes. They go a bit, jockeys go a bit quicker. But yeah, Wincanton generally a front runner's track. And we just when you're looking at a chase at Wincanton, you'll see horses with 2-1s in their form figures recently, and but if they're ridden patiently for both of those runs, they're probably worth taking on. So predicting which horse is going to make the running isn't always as easy as looking at the pace map, but it certainly seems to be with Wincanton runners, and you could just back any horse who made the running in its latest race, who is now running in a chase at Wincanton, and make a profit. 38 winners from 228 bets in the study period, and a profit of 55.64 at SP. It's Betfair SP. That profit goes up to 95 quid before commission. So it's when you're looking at the 3:30 at Wincanton on Saturday, just first thing you should be looking is who is going to make the lead, who's going to make the running, who's the likeliest leader. Yeah, in the article, I've put up Proform's pace map from this race 12 months ago, and you look at that, it basically says there's 3 likely front runners, possible front runners: Lord Accord, Gustavian, and Al Dancer. Al Dancer's 1 at 25s. Gustavian's Lord Accord's finished second as the 11-4 favourite. Gustavian's finished third at 9-1. And I think if you just combine those in a Tote exacta, Tote trifecta, you've got over 1,200 quid. If you did a 6 quid bet, and the Tricast paid about half that. You've got to look for who's going to make the running. And I'm just looking through. We haven't got the final decks yet because we're recording this on Thursday morning. Those won't be out until sort of 10:30ish today. But you look at the favourite, the Doyen Chief, a 5-1 shot with a couple of ones next to his name, tends to race prominently, an Alan King runner. But we know what his horses generally do. They kind of sit sort of third, fourth, fifth, and track the pace. Cobra Queen, the second favourite, Henry de Bromhead, she can race prominently, But the key word there is she, because she's never won against a male rival. She's only ever won in mares only races, so I'd give her the stripe. Hang in there's another 8-1 co-second favourite. Ridden patiently when winning at Chepstow last time out, so he's not going to be anywhere near the front end. Largy Poet, the Paul Nicholls runner, again, can dispute the lead, but you're looking for horses who are sort of habitual out and out front runs. 3 under through 5, another Nicholls runner who's got a good record right-handed, a veteran. Did make the running, went second in this a couple of years ago, but doesn't always. So, you've got Gustavian in there again. So it's worth going through the running styles, having a look at the pace map and trying to find out, who's going to lead. And certainly wouldn't put you off trying to do the combination, forecasts, tricasts, exactas, trifectas, whatever your chosen weapon is when it comes to exotics, and try and get a big return for small stakes.
It's interesting you say that, because I was talking to Andy Gibson at Chepstow, and he's a big fan of those exotic bets.
Yeah,
you've got a big price one that you think might be in the frame.
Yeah, well,
you always think that they're like mug bets, don't you? Well, you sort of assume that they are, but obviously not.
There was I previewed the Tote. Most weeks there's a Tote trifecta rollover race where any time the Tote trifecta is not won, the money rolls over in the pot, and they choose a race on Saturday. And there was about 10 grand rolled over going into the Tote trifecta for the Sodexo Live handicap chase at Ascot last Saturday, a big televised race. And I previewed it for the Tote, and I basically sort of said, the Changing Man, 7-2 favourite when I wrote the article, a banker to finish second, because his last 17 runs, he'd finished second on 10 occasions, won once. The win was lucky because the odds-on favourite departed early, and he didn't have a lot else to beat. So all of a sudden you said, well, here's the trifecta, but I know one of those. I can be quite confident that one of those positions will be filled by the Changing Man. So you could then have the field to win and the field to finish third, and just banker on the Changing Man to finish second. And it is quite strange in this country how we're obsessed with win singles or each way singles, or maybe occasional sort of double or lucky 15, but we don't think about if I'm confident that horse A is going to finish, who's going to finish second, and maybe I should have 25% or 20% of my stake in some straight forecasts or combination forecasts. And try and win a bit more, particularly in this day and age where it's hard to get on a 100 quid win bet or a 50 quid each way bet. You're probably going to be more welcomed by a bookmaker if you're doing forecasts and tricasts or trifectas.
And where's your Tote column? Where can people read that for free?
Yeah, you basically just have to. It's free. It's the Stayers Shout. It's just you need a Tote account. You need to opt in to receiving my emails, and I'll do the place pot for the big race every week, and I'll do the Stayers Shout, which is previewing the Tote trifecta rollover race. So it doesn't cost anything, but you do need a Tote account. You do need to opt into it.
I didn't know anything about that. I've got a Tote account as well. I'm going to have to opt in.
Yeah, there's
something every day.
Yeah, there's a very interesting graphic of my face where they distorted it. So.
Excuse me. There's a what? Sorry, Andrew.
An interesting graphic of my face where they've distorted it to have me shouting. So it's a bit cartoony, but worth it just for that. So yeah, it's and again, I know you're going to Wincanton, but I've been going through some other stats for a friend of mine recently about biases at certain chase tracks as well, and we know that front running is the most effective running style to win a race, followed by racing prominently, and the least effective way of winning a race is to ride your horse patiently. It's particularly true over jumps and handicap chase company. It's particularly true now that the whip rules have changed and you're not allowed to hit your horse so often, making it again harder to come from off the pace. And there are a lot of tracks where whoever goes out in front just stays there. I mean, it happened at Chepstow yesterday on the chase course again. And again, watching the in-running market when the Sam Thomas chaser won, he wasn't jumping particularly well. He was losing a bit of ground at his fences, but he was in front, and he kept getting bigger in running. Then about 2 out, the market suddenly cottoned onto the fact that, hang on a minute, this is Chepstow, this is the chase track. It's flipping hard to come from off the pace, and he stayed there. Again, just looking at handicap chases over 2 miles, 7.5 furlongs at Chepstow. The front runners are 28 from 103, and profit of 76 quid at SP. Hold up horses win 6.9% of the time. So you've just got to, some of these course and distances, you've just got to think, how is my horse going to be ridden? And that's more important than what they did last time out, or what speed figure they got last time out as well.
Do you sort of sit there when these races come and have a few clicks as soon as they jump off? Is that worth doing these days?
Yeah, I tend to not always be in front of the computer at the time, because sort of picking the kids up from school, or doing other bits and pieces. But yeah, there are certain ones where I try and make the point of thinking, well, yeah, I just want to be watching them line up at the start, and I've got my sort of short list of ones likely to lead, and there's intent there, isn't there? You might see a horse who usually makes the running, but it's having his seasonal debut, and perhaps trained by Dan Skelton, and all of a sudden he's sat in 8th place as they're running up at the start. You think, well, that one's probably not going to make the running, is it? And maybe there's bigger fish to fry for that one in the spring. And then you'll see them sort of line up, and you can have a good guess based on that front. You can use the pace maps, and it's not the worst way to try and eke out a few quid of an afternoon, just like you say, playing to small stakes and trading it back or sticking with it.
So the flat, you finish with the end of the flat now?
Yeah, I'm still doing a lot on the all-weather. I do love the all-weather over the winter, particularly at Lingfield, where there's a dead rail, where if you're on the inside rail, you're on deeper poly track, and it's very, very hard to win. And we saw this last week, where you get sort of horses winning from stall 7 of 7, and 9 of 9, 5 of 5. It just seems that whoever was challenging widest was winning. So just trying to look out for horses who've run well on the inside, and downgrade the ones who've been on the quicker part of the track down the middle. Similar, Wolverhampton often rides like this as well in the depths of winter, and certainly has done at the last couple of meetings.
Okay, and just finally, a little plug. Well, 2 plugs. If you like this, please like and subscribe to it. But I've just put up a video for not for older folks, if anybody wants to watch it. Somebody sent me, but Andrew will remember Worcester when it was like it is in the video. It's on my channel. From 1984, featuring Angus Hill, who was a very revered professional punter back in the day. And for people old enough to remember those days, there's quite a few faces there that will jog your memory, Dodger McCartney, people like that. So, and thanks to John, the guy that sent it to me. You won't mind me mentioning his first name, I'm sure. So that's proven quite popular. And
I was going to say, just going back to the Badger beers, I haven't sort of I haven't seen the final decks yet. I haven't decided on a selection, but do visit my column on gg.co.uk, because I expect to put a bet up in that race.
Absolutely, and I'll put a link to that column on my website. And if you want to send me some of the other ones, Andrew, I'll put them up there as well, so we can. Whatever. You've got to follow Andrew's stuff. He's very prolific. You've got to track it all down. And because I had him with Daryl Carter as well, and I'm going to sign up for the Tote newsletter. So brilliant, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers, Simon.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Have a good day. Catch you later.
I will. Cheers.
Hello everyone, just a quick one. If you have enjoyed these videos and are enjoying these videos, can you please like and subscribe to my channel? Thanks very much.